As we say, today marks the 10th anniversary of the Marikana Massacre, where 34 striking Lonmin workers were gunned down by heavily armed members of the South African Police Service. About 80 other miners survived the shooting, but many were wounded. More than 200 miners were arrested. To give us an update, we speak to Dr. Trevor Ngwane. He's the director of the Center for Sociological Research and Practice at the University of Johannesburg. A very good day to you, Dr. Ngwane, and thanks for making the time.
Thank you very much for having me.
You picketed yesterday at the NPA offices with other civil society organizations for the police to be charged for the Marikana Massacre. You say not a single police officer has been charged. What are you specifically fighting for, and what was the outcome of the picket?
We are fighting for justice for the workers murdered at Marikana, and also those who were injured, but also those who survived and their families, and for the trauma and brutalization they suffered. But up to so far, not a single police officer who pulled the trigger on the day has been charged. And also all the senior police commanders at the scene, I can name them. Brigadier Adrian Kalitz issued the shoot order, engage. Major General Ganasi Naidu, he was the commander at scene 2, behind the scenes, executing miners, and then Major General Charles Anande, who was in charge of the overall operation.
Dr. Ngwane, do recent announcements by government on the settled Marikana litigation not bring some comfort that something has been done?
Well, what happens now is that the government is busy in court negotiating how much it should pay out, you know, for loss of life, loss of livelihood, etc. And indeed, it has paid out millions of rands to some families. The government, the state, refuses to take responsibility for what happened. So there is no apology, no acknowledgement that these people were killed, you know, by the police, you know, of the state. There is no symbolic acknowledgement, such as setting up a monument, bring the day, a public holiday or a special day of mourning. A lot of smokes and mirrors, ducking and diving. So no one is coming out clearly. The worst part, we know that those police, they were under orders. So they are people we can call the intellectual authors of the massacre. So starting with President Cyril Ramaphosa, who, you know, put pressure on the government, on the state, to act in a harsh way to the miners. Also, at that time, Minister of Police Nathi Mthethwa, who was in charge of the police. And of course, even Zuma, who, although he was out of the country, but he must have been told that violence was going to be unleashed on the striking workers. So they are walking away scot-free. Everyone is walking away scot-free, except the families of the dead.
Looking at the settlement itself, what do you make of it? Do you believe it's an acknowledgement by government of wrongdoing?
It is a backhanded acknowledgement. Can you see? Because if you're going to pay someone a debt or something, you say, okay, buddy, I owe you. Okay, sorry I've taken long to pay you. Here's the money. But if you just send someone to deliver the money at night and saying nothing, clearly, you know, we are not taking full responsibility for your actions. This is very important. both morally and politically. Remember what happened on that day. The democratic government sent a clear message, not only to the workers at Marikana, to the whole nation, the whole world, that the ANC government is willing to share hard to protect. So it's important for them to stand up and say, one thing, give us solace that to one thing.
And as we mark this day, this blight in our history, what lessons can be learned from the Marikana Massacre in terms of what the families have been going through this decade, and anyone taking note of whether there's progress and where there's really, it's static. What can be learned?
Yes, so this is the part which many people don't understand. So those workers, they were an example of a spirit of determination, of bravery, of sacrifice, active action for a living wage, for a comfortable content which inspired millions and millions, not only in South Africa, throughout the world. The oppressed, the exploited, they got inspiration because of the blood of the Marikana workers. You know, on that mountain was born what I can call the spirit of Marikana. You know, the idea that people, whether it's women, whether it's together, demanding what they want, sacrifice, die, thing. So, you know, that was not vain. Many people have been that by their bravery.
We thank you again for talking to us, but just in terms of the living conditions of the people who have been affected, what can be done? What is government listening? What can be done to make government sit up and listen to what is needed?
Yes, so the emphasis on strategy is because everywhere people are suffering, you know, unemployment on the mines, system is continuing. They live in shack settlements, out, expensive in the world. They in poverty. Even when their wages go up, inflation, living is going up. Only way forward is to struggle, and that is what people have to struggle, because people can work and allow themselves to continue being oppressed. Those workers for giving us of Marikana.
And just in terms of how the day is being commemorated, is it sufficiently done? Is it done properly? What are your thoughts here?
It's terrible because it's the same with something like, you know, not to get off the topic, month of August, you know, Women's Month. This violence continues every day, you know. But once a year, you know, a certain day, they were remembering, honoring the women. With Marikana, once a year, 10 years later, I'm giving speeches about the workers who got killed. Violence of the migrant labor system, which are based labor, news every day. Only time better is one, the based violence stops and women are respected, treated equals by men. it can be good. The exploitation ends as miners wage can enjoy a comfortable, decent, secure life.
Ngwane, we value your thoughts and thanks for making the time to speak to us today.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Trevor Ngwane is the Director of the Center for Sociological Research and Practice at the University of Johannesburg, giving us his perspective on the 10th year anniversary of the Marikana